Healthy eating consists of 6 principles, and in this video I'll go over the second one, food composition. The previous video was about calorie balance, which is the first and most important principle, so if you missed it, make sure to check it out. Okay, so to start, let's go over the definition of food composition. Unlike calorie balance, which refers to how much food is eaten, food composition refers to what kind of food is being eaten. Okay, but what composes the food you eat? 3 macronutrients: proteins, fats, and carbs. Almost every food is a combination of these macronutrients in different proportions, but there's one nuance. All proteins, fats, and carbs are not equal, which is why we're talking about food composition in the first place. To give you an example, here's 2 carb sources, broccoli and cotton candy. Which one of these is healthier? The answer should be obvious, but to understand why this is the case, we have to talk about what makes different macronutrient sources differ from each other, starting with protein. Protein sources differ from each other in 2 ways: how completely they digest and the amino acids they provide. How completely a protein source digests refers to how effectively your body can break down the consumed proteins into amino acids and absorb them for further use. Every protein source doesn't get digested in your body equally, and the less completely it does so, the more protein goes to waste in the toilet. The amino acids a protein source provides refers to the ratio of essential and non-essential amino acids it provides. Your body needs 20 amino acids, but since it can create 11 of them, you only need to take in 9 of them from your diet. These 9 amino acids are called essential amino acids, while the other 11 are called non-essential. And the more essential amino acids a given protein source has, the better its ratio of amino acids is. If a protein source has all 9 essential amino acids in requisite amounts, it's called a complete protein source. But if it doesn't, it's called an incomplete protein source. Most plant protein sources are incomplete, but by combining some of them together, you can get a complete protein source. Some examples would be rice with beans, whole grain bread with peanut butter, and oatmeal with soy milk. In short, the more digestible a protein source is and the better the ratio of amino acids it provides, the higher its quality is. Okay, but what are these highest quality protein sources? Animal protein sources: meat, fish, eggs, and dairy. In comparison to plant protein sources, their completeness of digestion and amino acid profile is much better. Of course, you can be a vegan and still be healthy, but you will have to take a few more steps to ensure your health. The first is to focus on complete plant protein sources like quinoa and soy. The second is to focus on forming complementary protein pairs like the ones I mentioned previously. The third is to consume more protein than is recommended for the average meat-eating public, so as to offset the poor quality of plant proteins. And the fourth is to supplement with some of the micronutrients inadequately supplied by plant-based diets, like some of the B vitamins and iron. Okay, that's it for protein. Now let's talk about fats. Just like with protein, fats are also necessary to consume in minimal amounts to ensure health, but any kind of fats will not do. There are 4 types of fats: trans fats, saturated fats, polyunsaturated fats, and monounsaturated fats. Trans fats are unsaturated fats that have been chemically altered to be more solid and are most commonly found in baked goods, fried foods, margarines, and snacks. Out of all the fat types, trans fats are the unhealthiest, and their consumption should be as minimal as possible. Saturated fats are most commonly found in fatty meats and dairy products, as well as coconut and palm oils. They're not as unhealthy as trans fats, but since their consumption in large amounts has been linked to increased levels of bad cholesterol, you shouldn't go overboard with them. Polyunsaturated fats are important to health because they contain omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, which are mandatory to take in from your diet. Most people get enough omega-6 fats because plant oils contain them in large quantities, but since omega-3 fats are only found in fatty fish and certain nuts and seeds, deficiencies in them are quite common. And monounsaturated fats are seen as the healthiest, and they're most commonly found in various oils such as olive oil, canola oil, and avocado oil, as well as in avocados, nuts, seeds, and eggs. Here are the recommended intakes for each type of fat: 0% for trans fats, 20% for saturated fats, 35% for polyunsaturated fats, and 45% for monounsaturated fats. In short, try to take in more fat from oils like olive oil, canola oil, and avocado oil, and foods like fatty fish, avocados, nuts, seeds, and eggs, and try to take in less fat from baked goods, margarine, chips, fatty meats, and fatty dairy products. And lastly, let's talk about carbs. Unlike proteins and fats, carbs are not necessary to take in from your diet, but they're still recommended. To compare different carb sources, we only need to use one criteria: the glycemic index. The glycemic index refers to how quickly a given carb source raises blood sugar levels after being eaten. The faster it does so, the higher its glycemic index is. All carb sources can be ranked on this index, which stretches from pure glucose on one end with a score of 100 to pure fiber on the other with a score of 0. But there's one nuance: the glycemic index by itself doesn't tell us the health value of foods, because how fast a carb source raises your blood sugar levels doesn't directly impact your health. Okay, but then why are we talking about the glycemic index to begin with? with, because carb sources with a low glycemic index tend to be healthier for three reasons. The first is a higher concentration of micronutrients, which refers to the amount of vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, and fiber in a given carb source. The second is a steadier flow of energy for your daily activities, rather than the hide and crash potential of high glycemic foods. And the third is better promotion of satiety, which can help you eat less calories and improve your health through weight loss. In short, the lower the glycemic index of a carb source, the more likely it is to be better for your health. And what are these low glycemic carb sources? Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. The fact that these carb sources are healthier than high glycemic alternatives like white bread or ice cream shouldn't be a surprise. And now let's answer the last question. What about unhealthy foods, or protein, fat, and carb sources that don't meet the health criteria? Do you have to cut them out from your diet completely if you want to improve your health? Absolutely not. As weird as it may sound, unhealthy food can be a part of a healthy diet. But why? Isn't unhealthy food harmful to your health? No, it's only harmful to your health when it pushes out healthy foods out of your diet and makes you eat more calories than you burn. If you consume enough micronutrients, protein, and healthy fats, if you don't have any problems with energy or hunger, and you keep your calories in check, you can eat junk food till you're blue in the face. But since controlling all of these conditions is quite difficult, the general recommendation is to eat as little unhealthy foods as possible. Sure, you can still eat them from time to time, just don't make your whole diet about them. Okay, so now that you know everything about food composition, I'll give you a quick summary of everything we talked about for it to really stick in your memory. What is food composition? Food composition refers to the types of protein, fat, and carb sources you're consuming. How do protein sources differ from each other? By how completely they digest and the ratio of amino acids they provide. What are the best protein sources? Animal protein sources: lean meat, fish, eggs, and dairy. How do fat sources differ from each other? By the types of fat they mostly consist of: trans fats, saturated fats, polyunsaturated fats, and monounsaturated fats. What are the best fat sources? Nuts, natural nut butters, seeds, avocados, egg yolks, fatty fish, olive oil, canola oil, and avocado oil. How do carb sources differ from each other? By the concentration of micronutrients, steadiness of the provided energy flow, and satiety promotion. What are the best carb sources? Ones with a low glycemic index: fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. And can unhealthy food be a part of a healthy diet? Yes, just make sure that you consume enough micronutrients, protein, and healthy fats. You don't have any problems with energy or hunger, and that your calories are kept in check. I really hope that you found this video helpful, and if you did, I'd greatly appreciate it if you left a like. Stay tuned for the next video, which will be about the third principle of healthy eating: macronutrient amounts. Peace!